Today we are sitting in Burbank, California with the man who needs no introduction, but I will. I'll introduce you. This is Music Resource Specialist for Walt Disney Pictures, Keith Wilson.
Hello all.
Thank you for sitting down with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Also,
happy to do it.
Happy half birthday.
Look at that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your remembering my...
Yeah. I think it's in July.
It's actually
Is
the
it
end
June?
of June.
It's got to be end of June. That makes more sense.
Yeah. But close enough.
Okay. Do you still celebrate your half birthday?
I sometimes do. I sometimes don't. It just depends on my mood and, I don't know.
So just for all our December baby listeners out there, Keith is a fellow December baby.
Yes.
And what he does is sometimes, depending on the mood and the year, he'll celebrate his birthday during the summer. That just makes so much sense.
Yeah, instead of 2 days before Christmas when very few people care about your birthday.
I care about your birthday.
It's nice to have it in June, the sun's out and have a good time. So,
yeah. If you had to be, and I know you love being in front of the camera.
I do. It's my favorite place to be. I'd rather be on the back side of it.
I'm totally. So, but if you had to be in front of the camera, if you had to be part of the cast of a TV show or a film that you have in some part worked on, which would that be? Any cast.
Wow. I'm going to say something that I'll probably regret.
Oh, all right.
That will probably be the Muppets.
Oh, I just got so excited because I didn't expect it.
Because I've loved the Muppets since I was a kid, and the movies that we produced at Disney, we did 2 movies with 2 Muppet movies, and they were zany, and the songs were brilliant, and as a matter of fact, one of them won an award, won an Oscar. But I don't know. I just have a soft spot in my heart for the Muppets, and I kind of think I am. I would just love to be on that side of the camera for that particular film.
I love that answer. I wasn't expecting it. But my question is, are you wanting to be a Muppet?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And what's funny is because I've been watching some of the original Muppet Show television show, and a lot of the times when they would have a special guest star on the episode, at the end of the show, they would present that guest star with their own Muppet version of them. Yes. And so what I imagine is that, there will be a Muppet version of me. This is getting more and more ridiculous. That would be, bopping along and, doing whatever Muppets do. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now.
It wasn't ridiculous, but...
It is absolutely ridiculous. But
I love it. So I want to get the merch for that. Like, can I get the Keith Wilson
the Keith
Muppet
Wilson branded puppet.
The Muppet puppet.
Yeah,
please.
the Muppet puppet, yes. I'll have that on my website. You can, that's never happened.
That answer came from the heart, so there's no regrets there.
No.
Yeah.
You would regret not doing that.
Yeah, that's true. I'd be sitting at home watching this later going like, I should have said the
I
Muppet. But
missed opportunities. Not today.
Not today. Just put it all out there, right?
So we want to get into the thick of the interview today.
All right.
I actually, ahead of time, posted on Instagram a question, and I asked the public, what would you ask a music resource specialist for a major film studio? And so I have a few questions here that I've gathered from them.
All right.
Because I mentioned before, I believe that their questions are more important than what I might have to ask you. But I am going to sneak in my own question first.
Okay, go for it.
Music resource specialist.
Yeah.
First of all, the abbreviation for that is MRS. Do we need to call you like Keith Wilson MRS? Like Mrs.
Yeah.
I'll leave that rhetorical.
Yeah, that can remain a rhetorical question.
Keith Wilson, MRS.
MRS, I like it. It sounds almost like some sort of spy, thing or something like that.
Esquire.
I don't know why. Like I think like Esquire or MI5 or something like that is the first thing that popped into my head. Maybe because I'm trying to be cooler than I really am.
So you're gonna after today. You're going to add that to your
what I'm gonna
business
do.
card.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on everything. I'm going to
signature,
put everything,
email signatures,
Keith Wilson, MRS. And then have great delight in people going, what does MRS mean? But they're too embarrassed to ask because they think they should know what it means.
They're Googling it.
They're like, what is MRS? Yes, it's just garbage. You're like, don't listen to anything I say. It's all just made up.
Secondly, that was the first part of my question.
Okay, all right.
Is do you go by MRS? But secondly,
no.
What is a music resource specialist? Like when you first meet people and you tell them what you do, how do you explain that?
Well, I do there's this thing called an elevator speech. I don't know if most people have heard of that. It's just a little preamble. It's if you're in an elevator with somebody and you have just that elevator ride to explain who you are, what you do, and get that point across to them. I have sort of my elevator speech when it comes to that.
Let's hear it.
And it's basically that I help the film and the filmmakers along with our music team, which includes creative, production, and music clearance and licensing. I help support those teams and those filmmakers and getting the information and the music that they need to complete their films or make their films the best they can be in regards to creativity, in regards to budget, and things of that nature. So it's very broad.
That's a lot.
Kind of what I do. It's not a pinpoint job, but once you do it enough, you start to figure out how to service all these different people and get them what they need in order to make the film as best as it can be. Give them options for songs, give them information about songs and songwriters, whether it be a modern or something that takes place in, the 1940s or, whatever it is, just so that everyone has the accurate and complete information so that they can get things done.
Nice.
That's a quick answer.
That is a quick answer, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
There's a lot involved in that. So what is your day-to-day like? Is it just a lot of correspondence? It sounds like a lot of research.
It's a lot of research. There's some correspondence too in there. It all kind of starts with someone going, hey, I'm going to just make something up so I don't tell any Disney secrets. I'm going to say, someone will come to me and say, hey, we have a movie about icebergs. And I'm saying that because there's a picture of an iceberg on the wall you all can't see.
I see.
We have a movie about icebergs. This guy's in Alaska and he's exploring an iceberg in 1930 or something like that. And so basically I'll go, okay, well, what kind of songs might have been written pre-1930 that this guy may have, that we can either play in the background or like if they're at a bar in somewhere in Alaska and or whatever, so you find those things out. You find out who wrote those songs, performances, whether they're public domain, so you have to really have to pay for them. There are arrangements for certain songs that may be important to know. You go through all of these things and figuring out what's the best way to get these songs to your filmmakers, and that may either be through our creative team or directly through a music editor or music supervisor, just kind of depending on the situation. So it's a lot of doing research and figuring those things out, and then doing the legwork of action, and then listening to a lot of things and going, okay, well, this sounds like period correct instruments, or this is a modernized version of the same song. We can't use that. We need something that sounds more like this, and then you kind of dive down that rabbit hole, and you pull as much as you can, and then, once you have that, you can send it out, and hopefully their filmmakers like that, and they go, okay, this is great. We're going to use one of these. Sometimes they go, dig deeper, and then so you have to go back and dig deeper and find other options and things like that. But it's like that, but with all types of music and all types of films. So
That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
honestly, I do like digging into projects that are have taken place in the past, whether it's something that took place in 1950s America, or something that took place in 1840s France. Because I like to learn. I love learning things and learning new things about different cultures, languages, food, whatever it is. And so it's like digging into the past and figuring out those things is kind of like, I enjoy it. If you're talking about what I enjoy, I do enjoy those sorts of things. It does give me a kick to get into it in that way.
You probably find a lot of treasures, a lot of hidden gems that way.
Yeah, you do. I mean, and look, we've all heard, just from watching movies our whole lives, we've all seen movies that take place in a myriad of places, a myriad of times, and so you're used to hearing what that place in that time period sounds like. True. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll have these preconceived notions about what I'm looking for, and once I start digging, sometimes I go, well, that's not necessarily the case. They modernized it, when they were the Civil War or something like that. They said, okay, we're going to take this song, but we're going to re-record it, and maybe they re-recorded it with modern instruments, or it sounds really clean, or it sounds this, or it sounds that. But when you go back and you dig, and you go, oh, okay, well, they shouldn't be playing it with this kind of drum, they should be playing it on this kind of drum, or they shouldn't be playing it on the flute, it should be on the fife, it should be this. Or if you're playing, like, bagpipes came up one time, and you learned that there's different kinds of bagpipes, and bagpipes are in different keys in certain regions, and there's all these things that you go, oh, okay, you can't just throw this general. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a movie. Yeah. It's make believe. It's fun. You have to service the film and and make it listenable, make it believable. So sometimes authenticity isn't 100% of what you want. Otherwise, make a documentary. So you have to balance the two. But I prefer knowing the truth and then coloring it in, or letting the filmmakers or composers or songwriters fill it in as they see fit. But at least start with the right information. That's kind of how I look at it.
I love that answer. Go ahead.
No, I love that too.
Yeah.
I think that I've always thought, we get our history, a lot of it is spoon-fed to us in school through history books, but I think that a better, maybe a more comprehensive view of history is really through the lens of art, of music and art, and I think that's why it's so important that that's taught as well. But you get to do that every day, where you get, I guess not every day, but you get to dive into some of those tracks and really fun. That's got to be rewarding.
That gives you perspective, for the general public to know how much goes into creating the arts. So I just love that. That's really cool. So one of the questions that we received on Instagram was, how do you choose, and you've answered that for the most part, how do you choose music? Is there a rubric? So you have, you get all the information from the producers, but in terms of qualifications, is there like a qualification, are there different levels into who you're able to choose from, the pool you're able to choose from?
As far as, I'm assuming we're talking about modern music. Yes, there is. Most of the music that comes through, either through me or one of my colleagues, is usually pitched through us. We usually kind of know what we're looking for. Right. So we'll either put out a music blast and say, hey, we're looking for, this particular type of sound, or this particular type of, this blah, 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 through different, whether it be publishers or record labels or managers or whomever. and then those people will put together their own playlist from their own catalogs, shoot it to us, and then we'll kind of sort through and go, okay, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Generally, that's how it works.
Yeah.
We generally don't do like go through unsolicited material. I know I've had people like unsolicited materials always come up, and I would tell people do it if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it because most places, at least most film studios and places like that, don't accept unsolicited materials just because it's a legal liability.
It makes sense.
You know, so you might send it if you want, but I would advise against it. It's just not the best way to go about it. It's a kind of a hard answer, but do the work. Get out there, meet people, find representation, get yourself into a position where someone else is working to place your music, is working to get your songs heard. That's the best way to do it. Yeah, you might get lucky. You might get lucky and someone hears it. You do something on YouTube, someone hears it and goes, I gotta have this song, and yeah, they'll jump through hoops. But for the most part, I would say don't rely on that kind of luck. Do the work instead, and then hopefully you'll get lucky with all the work you've done that it'll make through those steps. Yes. And you'll get a placement, whether it's in film, television, commercials, video games, wherever.
Yeah. So that actually answers another question that someone sent in, which was, how do you get your work noticed, your music noticed? So do the work is what I'm hearing. Don't skip those steps. And I like that you say, you know, you do the work and then you'll get lucky.
Yeah.
I hear there's a quote that says, I'm going to butcher it, but it's to the effect of like, you know, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're preparing and you're doing the work.
Exactly.
That's when you'll get your music noticed, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to get your music heard if you're putting in the groundwork and doing those sorts of things. It just, you know, don't pass up any opportunity to get work done, to meet people, to have someone represent you. I mean, of course, be smart. There are snakes everywhere, so you know you kind of have to watch out. But yeah, I mean, it's not the fairy tale answer that everyone wants to hear.
It's the real answer, and that's what a lot of people need to hear.
A couple other things are trying to do shows and showcases and places, just anything to get noticed. Go to any sorts of like mixers or this or that. Just try to get your foot in the door. Try to meet people, because people, the more people, you know, I've actually had this happen to me before where someone will email me so much that I start to go like, do I know this person? If their name comes up somewhere else, I'd be like, wait, I've heard that name before. Or, you know, who is this? And I'm like, oh, no, this is just someone who's emailed me a lot trying to get their song placed or trying to get their music heard. But I usually just delete those emails. But you still see the name. Do not email me. But you still see their name a lot. And that's just, I'm not saying to email everybody and be a pain in the butt to everyone. But what I'm saying is to try to get your name out there. Try to I don't know, do whatever it takes to be seen, to be heard. Like you said, Dallin, get your music recorded, and I don't know.
Invest in network.
Yeah, networking. Yeah,
Excellent.
There you go.
Speaking of networking. Well, I just want to know. So I do want to know, but someone did also ask this. How did you get where you are today? Like, how did you get to the position or realize what you wanted to do? Or did you realize what you wanted to do?
I still don't know what I want to do. No, I'm kidding. As it's like anyone else will tell you. Well, not anyone else, but a lot of people tell you it was kind of a multi-step process, and I don't want to spend 6 hours telling you my life story. But basically, I've always grown up loving music. I mean, like, 90% of the world. You grow up loving music. You hear it, from your parents' stereo, or and then you grow up and you hear it on the radio on your way to school, and you hear it at school dances, and then you hear music is such a touchstone for so many people in so many people's lives, and I'm no different in that regard. But then I've also started to love film, and a really good friend of mine went to film school, and as anyone out there, if you have a friend in film school, you know that you become their film crew. So I became the cameraman. My brother became this guy. Another guy became the boom guy. Another guy became this, and my brother was an actor in his movies. And we all just kind of did these student films that he did. And so I started to love the process of filmmaking and seeing kind of how it was all put together and all the work that goes into it and everything. And then I got an opportunity to marry those two when this opportunity came to Disney. In the film music department, and I was like, well, I'll take it. Plus, they were offering benefits, so which is very important.
Needed.
Benefits, yes. When the music executives wanted playlist ideas, this was before you can just go on your computer or your phone and put together a playlist, and it was digital. They'd send us a list of all the songs they wanted. We'd go and we'd pull the CDs off the wall, and we'd actually burn a CD of those songs, and then we'd make 15 copies of it because they wanted to send one to the director, one to the music supervisor, one to this executive, one to that executive, one to blah, blah, blah. So it was basically that. We were compiling all this stuff, making CDs, or sometimes cassettes even, and sending them out to various parties. And then just over the years, it became, you start doing it and you get more and more involved, and, you get someone ask your opinion about something like, oh, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Or, hey, if you have any cool songs about the moon, give them to me, because they're grasping at straws looking for something. And say, okay, well, how about this song, or how about that? And if you do that enough, then it's like, okay, you get an opportunity to do that more often. So over the years, I had the opportunity to do those sorts of things, to pitch songs, to be in that space. So it's just a matter of, I just was able to do that and able to get my ideas heard, and then also to I'm very detail oriented, so I'm very good at doing research and making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be when it comes to having accurate information. So just doing that, and I got good at it, and so I started doing research, and I started doing all the other things that I got. So, and look, I'm telling you all this in like 2 minutes, but it took me a few years to kind of wiggle my way.
You built rapport
to where it was. Yeah, and it's about, like I said, it's just doing the work.
Yeah.
Meeting people and doing the work right, and not looking for any shortcuts or things like that. Yeah. And look, my path isn't everybody's path. Right. I know I have other colleagues who did things completely differently, and I know people who have multiple degrees. I know some people who have no degrees, but you all figure out how to get to where you're going, and there's a path for everyone, but you just have to follow it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for pointing that out too. I know some people get discouraged when they're like, oh, I didn't exactly go down that path the way I think it should go, but there are still opportunities. Yeah. You just have to do the work.
Do the work, man.
That's the takeaway today. Yeah. Just do the work, man. Do the work.
Yeah, it's all a hustle.
Yeah.
Whether it's a school hustle, or if it's a in the streets hustle, or it's a whatever kind of hustle it is. Hustle doesn't mean tricking people. Hustle means working hard.
Thank you.
If someone's a hustler, it means that they are working 24/7. That's what it is. So don't get confused with try to make it into a negative connotation, because that's not what I mean when I say hustle. And my other thing I want to say is all art is valid.
Do you want to?
All art is valid.
Do you want to say more?
I'll say more. I mean, I think since I wanted to say it because this is a more art and music focused medium. So basically, people always like to say, well, I like country music and metal music is garbage, or something like that. Yeah. Or I like impressionist painting and this other kind is garbage, or whatever it is. But I think that all art is valid because it comes from the soul. True art comes from the soul. It comes from your spirit. It comes from someplace that we can't all touch. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You see songwriters all the time say, I woke up and I had this song and I just wrote it down. I didn't write this song. It was given to me. And those cases, those magical moments happen at many levels, whether you're talking about someone who's at the highest level of songwriter to someone who literally you'll never hear of, who just sits in their kitchen and maybe plays a guitar or piano and writes a song. It's all valid. It's all real, and none of it should be discounted. So whatever your art is out there, just do it. Keep doing it. Be true to it. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it, but it doesn't matter. Just keep going because it's your art and find some sort of peace and solace in that. And that's what I like to say.